guys?
What's poppin'?
Welcome back to Youth TV.
Season 2.
Episode 2.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a banger.
Make sure you stay connected. If you're new here today, let us know down in the chat.
Let us know in the
We'd love
chat.
to get connected with you.
Absolutely.
And where can you follow us?
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at mychurch.youth.
Gonna be a good one.
Gonna be a good one.
We also have a new segment coming up right after this. It's called
Next Stop.
And we go house to house to our youth in the city. And you're just gonna have to check it out to see what happens. So
we may be coming to your house, your location, because we're coming to bless all of you youth with some gifts.
So stay tuned and maybe you could be next.
Maybe you could be next. Ooh.
Let's check it out.
All right, heading to Vincent's for our drop off. Super exciting.
All right, we have just pulled over. We are on the side of the road waiting. We're about to do a drop off for Vincent.
The one and only Vincent.
Get ready, get ready.
Kara, what's your favorite thing about Vincent?
I really love how he does his jumps on his scooter and is much better than Phil at it.
What?
Yeah.
What? I can do jumps too.
No. No, you cannot. Not like Vincent.
I can't. No.
Tony, what do you love about Vincent?
I love how honest he is, even to the point of brutality, but hey, it always works.
Awesome. What I love about Vincent is that he will always make you laugh. It doesn't matter what room you're in or what you're doing, he is just full of joy. He can talk out anybody. He's the biggest talker. He's never met a stranger. He is just everyone's friend. And we just love him. He's the best ever. So what are we dropping off for him?
We're dropping off some exclusive, amazing, one-of-a-kind, except for the other copies, ski boots.
We are dropping off ski boots. He has been asking for these ski boots for a long time. So Vincent, get ready, get ready. It's gonna be a crazy surprise. I can't wait. Stay tuned.
On the way to Vincent's house, we will see you there.
What are you doing in the snowbank?
But it's freaking cold. And then Julie's
Dash is stuck in the snow. This is all we do. Dash, what happened?
Oh no! I'm trying to help you.
Oh my gosh, she's covered in snow.
So cold.
It's so deep. Look at it. Oh.
Wild. Get in the car.
We're on our way. We're at Vincent's house. Vincent and Nick's house for a drop off. We're walking to the door. Dash, how excited are you?
I'm so excited.
So excited.
Merry Christmas. What's up, dude? Good, I got you some ski boots. You like them? Everybody came out to say hi to you, dude.
Yeah, bro.
No.
He's gonna show us what he got. He's gonna go off a jump for us.
What's up, British? Yes!
Hi. I miss you. You look so nice.
Well, we got you something. Look, we got you a whole thing. So what's in here is a cool art book that your mom told me that you like. What's it called? The Sketchbook Extra Large book. It's really cool. And there's a bunch of other little things in there that you can use and have fun with. We love you so much. Mwah.
King of the Hill.
Yeah. Thanks for the ski boots. They're absolutely amazing. I'm loving them.
Say happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Are we ready?
Ready.
Woo! Here we go. Phil is driving. Oh my goodness. Emily, what are we going to do?
We're going to say happy birthday to one of our youth students.
Yep, we're gonna go see Ellie break, and it's her birthday. Okay, here is Kara's vehicle. Phil, what's your favorite thing about Ellie?
Well, favorite thing about Ellie is that she is such a lovely human being and she loves helping out. She's always like, yes, I want to help out.
That's very true. She's always wanting to help out. And what's happening back there?
The lights on the car, you have to drive slow.
Just drive slow. We're just praying that my car doesn't get scratched up by the lights. In Jesus' name, hallelujah. Kara is also the fastest driver ever, and we have to follow her, so... Oh my goodness, look at the lights! My favorite thing about Ellie break is that she is another Ellie, and it's double trouble always. She is the kindest, sweetest, most generous girl ever. To know her is to love her, and we are so excited to celebrate her on her birthday. It's gonna be amazing, and I hope she's so surprised. Okay, I've got my party attire on. Okay, Ellie, we need you to go outside for a surprise.
You build me a snowman?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am so totally pumped. We are waiting on the beautiful, mysterious Ellie break.
How do you think she's feeling right now?
She doesn't know a hitch of what we're doing, so this is fun.
Are you surprised?
Well, yeah, why am I going outside?
There she is.
Hi, guys. Come on out.
Happy birthday, how does it feel?
Feels good.
17?
Yeah.
Big 1-7?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Hi guys! Thank you!
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. We love you. Phil's trying to get out of the car. Happy birthday.
Can you see Christy?
To you. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ellie. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, guys. So cool. I wish I could give you guys hugs. We love you. Virtual hug. Did you have a good day? I did, yeah.
Did you have a great day, Ellie?
Yeah, I did. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark.
Happy birthday, dear Ellie. Woo! 17. Best year ever.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Youth News. My name is Carson. This is Jaden. What we got, man?
All right, first up on the list, we got Youth Leadership Program, and it's not too late to sign up. What's your favorite part about Youth Leadership Program?
I think my favorite part would be the food. The food is just very delicious.
Yes.
I love going there to eat food. There's wings, there's tons of stuff. There's even Doritos in a bag. It's just so delicious. What's your favorite project?
My favorite part is just hanging out with all my friends, and we always have games, and we play this game called Mafia, which is super fun. Make sure to come, it's super fun. And yeah, we also have Youth TV, which is coming on March 26th. And make sure to clock in. We have games, we got giveaways, we have all this fun stuff, and just, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Peace out.
Hey everyone, I am
am so excited about tonight. I'm so expectant for this conversation that we're about to have as we dive into the depths of walking through mental health. And maybe you personally are struggling with mental health. Maybe you have anxiety or depression, or you're walking through an eating disorder or even a trauma disorder. See, there's so many ways that we can experience mental health. And maybe you know someone that's struggling with their mental health. Maybe it's a family member or a classmate or even a friend. But the goal of tonight is to open up a real, honest conversation and to well equip you guys so that you can walk this journey well. And so we as a youth ministry and a church want to best come alongside you and best resource you the best way we can. Because the reality is that we are never alone. The best way to start off tonight is we're going to be interviewing a counselor from the Youth Services Bureau. So why don't we give a great big youth welcome to Michelle Earle. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi.
Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about. Bring us into a little bit about you.
All right. Well, so my name is Michelle Earle, and I work for Youth Services Bureau, and some folks know Youth Services Bureau as YSB. So YSB is a youth and family serving agency. And if you go onto our website at www.ysb.ca, you'll find all of our services there and how to access us. So for myself, what my role is at YSB is I'm one of the mental health coordinators there. And I supervise an intensive program, which is a program where we help families that have had some challenges in communicating. And perhaps there's been quite a bit of conflict. And so our role is being able to help those families be reconnected and build on their relationships. Another program I supervise is Wraparound, and it's a program where we work with families and we try and get some formal and informal supports to be able to surround them to meet their needs. So, which is really a nice thing for Wraparound, because that's what we're doing. We're wrapping around services around these families. And the last program I supervise is a trauma program. So we work with youth who have experienced some form of trauma or who have complex traumas, and they're at a point in their life where they're ready to work through those traumas.
I just love what you're going to bring to this conversation, because I feel like you are so well educated in youth mental health. And so we're so excited to dive into this conversation. And I think the best place to start is, can you describe to us exactly what is mental health?
Right. So at times, there's some, at times people think that mental health and mental illness are the same thing, when really they're not. They're two separate things. So mental health is a state of well-being, just as we have a physical well-being. So if we don't feel well, we might go to the doctors. If we have a scrape, we might put a Band-Aid on it. So our mental well-being, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and it's the way in which we manage through those difficult times in a healthy way. Mental illness is when there is something that is getting in the way of our healthy thoughts, emotions, our feelings, and the way in which we do things. And it also can have an impact on the relationships that we have and how we treat ourselves.
Wow, that's so good. I feel like that's great to make that distinction between the two. And I think there is a myth that kind of goes around that in order to have good mental health, you have to be happy all the time. And I think that's so far from the truth. But can you bring us into maybe debunking that myth a little bit?
Right. So good mental health isn't about feeling happy or confident 100% of the time. Yeah. I've never met anyone who's been happy 100% of the time. We all have our different feelings that we feel. And that's really what it is. It's about, despite having some challenges, we're able to move through those problems. And there's a few ways in which we can manage through some of that stress. One of the ways is to be able to take care of our bodies, and that could be through stretching, meditating, doing some mindfulness exercises. Another way is eating, balanced meals. Make sure that you are getting some nutrition in you. Another way is making sure that you're getting lots of sleep and that you're on a sleep routine. Another way of encouraging and getting, good mental health is making time to unwind, do something that you really enjoy. We're going through some real challenging times right now, and it's so important just to be able to take time for yourself and do what feels good for you. And as well as, stay connected to your community or your faith-based organization, and stay connected with your friends and your family.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that sometimes that whole connecting can be really difficult in a season that looks like this, right? Staying connected with your friends and your community. And I think it just comes around intentionality of just saying, hey, like I'm going to choose to, jump on that Zoom call, or I'm going to choose to pick up my phone and call my friend. And yeah, in a pandemic like this, it really takes that intentionality to get yourself around good people. And I think I love what you said about take time to refresh yourself, to really rest. I think that there's moments when we can rest in the wrong things, and it can almost become a distraction to numb what's actually going on the inside. Maybe just binge watching Netflix, which is not always a bad thing. But when we're doing it to distract or to take away from what's actually going on the inside, it can sometimes take away. But I think like what I've been trying to do is maybe get outside, go for a walk, or like it doesn't always have to be a bubble bath to take care of yourself, right? It can look like reading a book, or it can look like doing something that just makes your heart really happy, and just like refreshes yourself. So that's something that I've been trying to outwork during this pandemic season, is finding to rest in the right places.
Right. I like to journal. So, and I have a blog as well. So for me, that's how I take care of my self-care, is that, I write sort of kind of what's happening, and then I post it, and then I'm feeling like, okay, I've contributed to something in some way, in a small way, but still, having contributed. And that makes me feel good.
That's super cool. I love that. I'm so aware of the times that we're in right now. Can you bring us into some of the statistics, maybe in Ottawa or in Canada, of just some real life things that are actually happening around us?
Absolutely. So just in Ottawa alone, we've seen 30 to 40% of an increase in crisis calls.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty staggering, eh? At YSB, we've had double the amount of calls on our crisis line of families and youth who are worried about suicide. There's 34% of high school students who have moderate to serious levels of psychological stress.
Wow.
And in Ontario, 14% of high school students have seriously contemplated suicide. In 2016, 19% of accounted suicide were youth between the ages of 10 to 14, and 29% between the ages of 15 to 19. So these are pretty they're pretty staggering stats. And during extreme times, people may have thoughts of suicide, but I really want to send out the message that suicide is preventable.
Wow, it really is. And I think like hearing those stats, I think just for me makes it so real. It's like this is more than just maybe something you hear on TV, or maybe like it's just a conversation that's being had. It's like, no, this is happening maybe to your friends or your classmates sitting right next to you, and it is our reality. But I think it doesn't. The stats can actually drop, and we can start to see those things go down. And it starts with us, and it starts with us taking the right first steps. So when it comes to someone watching right now that says, hey, you know what? I'm really relating to a lot of this conversation. I'm really struggling maybe with my mental health, or I know someone that is, and they're just trying to navigate. What would you say to a young person that's watching would be a good first step for them?
To that young person, the first step I would say is good for you in acknowledging that something is just not feeling right for you, you know? And then after that, I would tell them to reach out to someone that they trust, and it's okay to talk about your feelings, so that, reaching out to someone who, like it could be your parent, it could be a sibling, friend, neighbor of a friend, could be you, Ellie. I mean, like, you know, it could also be a crisis line. I mean, at YSB, we have a crisis line, and we also have a chat line. And so these are youth counselors who are very, you know, have been doing this for many, many years. So they're very experienced in what they do, and they can relate really well to the stresses that youth are facing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that there's so many resources for young people to reach out to. It's just starting the conversation. It's just saying, hey, I'm going to get open and get honest and real with what's going on the inside. And I just want to start talking about it with someone. And, you know, starting to have that conversation with someone is a great start. And there are so many places where you can go, some safe places, some safe people, you know, even like your parents or a youth leader or the 24/7 crisis line, I think is a great tool. There's so many places they can go. And I guess just one last thing I'll ask you is like, how would you encourage a young person to start the conversation or to build that courage to actually make that step? Where does that start?
Right. So something, you know, how to maybe start that conversation would be, you know, I've got some feelings I'm having that I don't really understand, or, you know, I'm kind of feeling depressed, and I don't understand why. And I need some help. I just need someone to talk to be able to kind of work through it. Or, you know, I'm struggling with the pandemic right now, and I don't know how to deal with it. Can you help me?
Yeah.
So, you know, starting those kind of conversations, you know, and I want to acknowledge too that those conversations aren't always easy to be had, but they're so worth the risk.
Yes. Yeah, definitely worth it. And if like just keep asking, keep talking about it with somebody. And so if maybe your friends aren't giving you the greatest advice, maybe try going to someone that's a little farther along the journey and seeking out that wisdom from the right places. So that's awesome. And I just so appreciate you and all that you and Youth Services Bureau are doing for our city and for our young people. Just be so encouraged that, you know, we are looking to you guys, and we are so blessed by what you guys are bringing to this city, and just so encouraged by all the resources that you're putting out there. And if you are watching this and that is you, that you might feel like you're relating to a lot of this conversation, start the conversation. Start talking about it with somebody. And we'll be posting up some of those resources, some of the Youth Services Bureau resources up on the screen or after this episode. And just start the conversation, I think, is the best way that we can leave it for today. So thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thanks, Ellie. It was really nice talking with you as well.
Amazing. Well, we'll catch up with you next time. Thank you.
In my life, when I really started to feel my mental health struggle was when my family and I found out that my sister had cancer. I was the first person to find out, as I was the one to pick up the phone when the doctor called. And in that moment, it literally felt like the world absolutely stopped. I could not believe what I was hearing. I was devastated. I was just feeling like I had just been stabbed. So for my sister's sake, I put on a very brave face and did my best to be strong for her. And in that, I pushed all of my own emotions down, but eventually that caught up to me. I started to become tired all the time. I just wanted to sleep. I didn't really want to eat. My mind was always running, always spinning. I felt really panicky in my heart, like I couldn't settle. I felt afraid, but not exactly sure what I was afraid of at the time. My deepest fear was that one day I was going to wake up and end up the same as my sister. I was going to be sick. When I recognized that something needed to change, I felt like I was absolutely at the end of myself, and I had been referred to a counselor by a trusted mentor of mine at the time, and I decided that I had nothing to lose at that point. As I started to see my counselor, I was able to start recognizing how much I had pushed down and how much I hadn't processed from when my sister was sick. There was a lot of deep pain and deep emotion and undealt with trauma from that experience that was creating the panic and the anxiety. And it was so helpful for me to have an outside source that was not a part of my family. She wasn't a friend. She was an unbiased outside source that was looking into my life and able to remind me that I was normal, but also help bring up those emotions so that I could process them. My counselor is a Christian, and that was extremely important to me because she was able to encourage me into my relationship with the Lord. And that ended up spurring me on to recognize that God was not the villain in this story, and that he hadn't done this to me, and that I didn't have to be angry at him forever. So it spurred me on into getting to know him for who he truly is, not who I thought he was. Through that, I have come to see him as, firstly, very, very close, because I saw him as quite far away and someone that I needed to bring my most cleaned up self to. And I've recognized him more now than ever before as comforter in my life, and the one that freed me, like literally freed me from what felt like the pits of hell. Counseling has created a space for me to unpack my emotions, and that sit very deep within myself personally, that I sometimes have trouble accessing on my own. It's very hard to access those things on our own. So to have somebody that doesn't actually know you, so they're completely unbiased, looking in, helping you unpack those things, creates a lot of freedom. Looking back on those years in my life, I saw myself as very anxious, but I can see now that God saw me as just a hurting little girl that he deeply wanted to sit with and comfort, and I wasn't allowing him to do that until I started to pursue counseling, and my view of the Lord and the mindsets that I had of him that caused me to see him that way as a villain started to shift. I was able to allow him in to sit with me and comfort me as he wanted to.
Emily, what was it like to tell us your story?
What was it like? Vulnerable. It's never an enjoyable feeling per se to share your story, but I'm convinced that there's power in the testimony, which means that my story has the power to bring freedom to someone else. And through that, God brings me into greater freedom every time I share it. So it's vulnerable, but completely worth it and freeing.
And Hayden, before doing Life with M, what was your experience with mental health?
I didn't have a whole lot of experience with mental health, and I think while I was kind of growing up, going through high school, it was something that was just starting to be talked about with the Bell Let's Talk days, and just beginning to see it in your peers in high school and whatnot. And I think for me, I didn't have any story really in high school or anything that really hit home as far as mental health went.
You weren't really convinced that it was a thing.
I knew it was a thing, but I thought it was only extreme cases. I didn't think of it as in the smaller things. And then even just to have the idea of mental health used to be this thing that was talked about, you have mental health. Somebody has, you only have mental health if there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And to realize that no, even though I don't struggle with it, I still have mental health.
Yeah.
And I still do things.
And it can be strong or struggling.
Yeah, and I still do things in my day-to-day that like keep me mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And like, so that's like, even though it's something that's not a struggle for me, it's still something that I keep up, something that I maintain, so that I don't get to that place. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's kind of been my journey, is like going from like it not being something that was talked about to like something that was just being started to be talked about. That's not how you say that, but
just starting to be talked about.
Just something that was just starting to be talked about. And and really seeing that. And then in the past few years, seeing that in family and friends who have struggled with it, and seeing them walk through it has made that even more real.
Like you're more compassionate towards people.
Yeah, yeah.
And understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
Why is it important to talk about our mental health with someone?
Okay, I think it's, for me, I know a lot of people are like this, we can get very introspective. Humans have a ton of emotion, like just naturally, and that's normal and that's okay and it's healthy. But to have somebody who's not involved in your day-to-day life at all, and who doesn't necessarily even know anyone in your life, to sit with you and to shed light on how they see it, to tell you you're doing better than you think you are, to tell you you're normal for experiencing the emotions you're experiencing. Like, there's nothing like that. That was one of the most freeing things for me personally. So I think to have an outside perspective looking in, unbiased, to let you know essentially you're doing better than you think you are, basically.
And what drove you to go see a counselor and seek help?
Okay, so for me, I felt like I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. I felt very tormented. That's a very strong word, but for lack of a better word, I felt quite tormented in my head, and I was like, this needs to end now. And I also was at the place where I didn't want to have to go on medication unless I had exhausted all other options. And to me, diving into my relationship with the Lord, diving into therapy was like two of the last options for me. So I was gonna exhaust those before I went on meds, and that's where I was at. So that's what drove me to go. Mm-hmm.
And Hayden, what was it like to walk alongside Em as she battled with her mental health?
I think it was super tough for me to see her struggle with it. And I think just seeing her in the day-to-day, it wasn't like something that just blew up one day. And I think it was like something that she admitted to herself over a period of time. And it was like the first step is acknowledging that there's something to deal with. And I think like her story is very much that way. But then seeing her like have good days, have bad days, have days where it's like, what's wrong with me? Like, how do I fix this kind of thing? And then I think there's something in Christianity where we're like, we should be able to go to God and God only, and God should be my counselor.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that we, like, even in her journey, was definitely something I think we pushed the limits of.
Wrestled with the idea that it was going to be hard work.
Yeah, and I think
I wanted it to just be one and done.
One and done, but also like this idea of like, I'm not going to go to counseling because I serve a God who heals, a God who sets people free, a God who whatnot. And I think,
which is true, he does that.
I think looking back on M's story and being on the other side of it now, looking back, I would have been more go to counseling, like
earlier on.
Earlier on, because I think my experience with it had said like push, like almost like super unhealthy, but almost a mentality of like have more faith, if you will.
Right.
And so to kind of push that and just be like, hey, no, like God designed us to be in community, like go and use the community that he's put around us. Yeah. Whether that's a counselor or your friends or me or your pastors or whoever, like God has put community around you, like lean on that and don't lean so heavily, although it's very important, and I don't want to diminish that, is don't lean solely on your personal relationship with the Lord, but lean on the community and the church that God has put around you.
Because then if you're not careful, even if you're like, I'm only gonna like take this to God or whatever, which is so important and necessary, and that was a huge part of like the main part of how I got whole or like started this journey I'm still on of becoming whole. Like if you're if you do that, you're still isolating. Like you're still in an isolated place where it's just like you and the Lord, and it can't be anything else, and I can't get help from anywhere else. And that's almost prideful too, like to think like there's only one thing. It's like, no, there's trained professionals, and that's like helpful, and God's gifted them with the ability to walk people through this kind of stuff. So seeing it as like something very practical is also very spiritual.
And what was it like to invite God into the journey?
Well, that was everything. Like that was the beginning of the battle. Like long before I started seeing a therapist, I started to dive into my relationship with the Lord, and that was like the first thing I had to do. I had to start to like get through like toxic mindsets that I had created in my head about how God saw me, how I viewed God, that he wasn't just this like big guy up in the sky that was looking down on me expecting me to be perfect. Like there was so much grace, and that was the first step for me in the process. So like inviting God into it was everything. And then from there it got really practical, which was so important. But the first step was letting the Lord in, because I didn't realize that I was shutting him out when he can see it all anyways, but I totally was shutting him out. So allowing him in and giving him permission to work with me and work with him, that was everything.
And Hayden, what did you learn about God through doing this journey with him?
I learned so much in the sense of I learned things about God's character and who he is and how he loves his children, how he treats his children. And to just I think for me, one of the biggest things was how much God wants to use the community that he's given us to grow us, to set us free, to like, so often we hear these testimonies of like, I was praying at an altar call and God touched me, and from that day forward, I didn't struggle anymore. But like, there's actually something that when you walk your freedom out in community, and when you actually take the time and put in the hard work to walk out freedom for anything in community, it actually builds that community. It actually builds something that like God's heart is 100% for. And that's why he's given us community, is to do it together, not to just solely rely on him.
Yeah.
I think
because I wanted to isolate a lot. A lot of days I wanted to isolate and be alone.
What are some practical things you could recommend to a young person to help them have good mental health?
Okay, so I would say like, well, first, exercise is huge. Like, I haven't been doing this lately, I have to be honest, but I know the importance of it. It is like, it's crazy how even keeled I feel like when I do something to exercise. So that's a very practical thing that I would say is the first thing. I would also say getting good sleep like is super practical, but super important. To don't go to bed like insanely late every night of the week. Having like you almost feel like you're gonna be more free and whatever if you can just be like whimsical and not have any cares in the world, not have any structure or boundaries to your life. But I feel like, well, I found that that's the opposite, at least for me. And having structure and some boundaries is really, really imperative to finding peace and joy in your everyday life. So, throughout the week, as your standard, going to bed at around the same time, waking up around the same time, whether you have something that you have to wake up and get to or not, getting up at that certain time, exercising, whether that's even just going for a walk, whatever. And for me, I'm not there yet at all, and I don't know if I ever will be. That's not the goal. But in my journey, even with therapy and all that stuff, I have found that even when I'm at my healthiest and doing my best, checking in with my therapist once a month is imperative as well. Yeah. So just like I would go to the gym for my physical health, going and doing my monthly check-in with Tina is important, even if I don't feel like I'm struggling per se. Yeah. So, yeah.
And Hayden, what advice can you give a young person that has a friend or family member walking through mental health?
I think just be there, just love on them. Be the ear that's open to listen, and don't feel like you have to have all the answers or all the advice. Like you just need to be there. You need to be able to just love. And that's ultimately what we're called to do as Christians, is just love everybody around us. So it's a family member or a friend, like obviously there's like the relationships are different as to like what you can say, and only you can know that. But like maybe it's challenging somebody if that's what love looks like in that relationship. Maybe it's just saying, hey, if you ever need to talk, you can talk, because that's what love looks like in that relationship. And I think it's just whatever love looks like in each relationship is what that would look like. And I think that's for us to gauge, and we know our relationships, but just saying, hey, how can I love them best? And sometimes with family or somebody, it is
that you're really close with.
That you're really close with, it is having like the, hey, I think you would really benefit from this conversation, even if they don't think that. But sometimes it's just as simple as, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And that it's just figuring out how that looks. There's this idea that like there's this side to mental health, especially with depression and anxiety, that is, I'll never forget, I heard somebody say it once, it's picturing the future without God in it. It's to be anxious or depressed about what's to come, is to look at the future, and we are looking at it in a lens that doesn't have God in it. And I would just encourage everybody to just, if that's kind of the struggle, to say, hey, that's what I'm picturing and that's what anxiety looks like, but what does it look like if I fully picture God in it? And it's just as simple as that. If God fully showed up in my situation today, what would it look like? What would that same situation that I'm being anxious about look like? And that's prophetic in nature, but it's as simple as just looking at tomorrow and going, if God fully showed up, what would it look like? And then taking that and declaring that and praying over that until.
So you're not shaming yourself for picturing your future without God, and you're not shaming yourself for, you know, having those feelings of fear or of panic or of sadness or loneliness or whatever, but you're taking those and recognizing, oh, like I just forgot for a second to remember what it's like when the Lord is in my life.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we did, was it would be like if she was having a hard day or something, it'd be like, okay, if God fully showed up right now, what would that thing look like? And then choosing to position ourselves, and that's a learning process in itself, but choosing to position ourselves from there and walk out from that place.
Hold his hand again, grab onto his hand again.
It's like, oh, I just kind of lost my way, and you recenter yourself and keep going.
And you have to do that, like I had to do that some days every hour, literally every hour.
And I think that was the biggest sign of progress in your walk, was going from every 10 minutes being like, okay, I need to realign myself. I need to get back on the right path.
The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need.
Yeah, exactly. To that being every 10 minutes, to being every half hour.
And
to
just slowly
being every hour,
longer.
to every 6 hours, every 12 hours, weeks, months, years, like, and just kind of like, that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to be perfect. You're looking to just take the next step. And that next step might look like struggling every 10 minutes to struggling every 20 minutes.
And that's a victory.
Celebrate that and then take the next step.
That's right. Yes. Absolutely.
Wow, what an incredible night we've had. Such a great conversation and so practical. We can really start to apply it to our lives right away. And I love what Em said, you know, of her struggle with mental health. Her journey of healing started with a relationship with God. And I'd love to give you that opportunity wherever you are, wherever you're watching from. I'd love to give you this opportunity to invite Jesus into your heart so you can start to outwork, walking out a journey with Jesus. And so to tell you a little bit about him, we were born into a broken world, and Jesus came to earth, lived a sinless life to set us free so that we could have full access to the Father. And so if that's you and you say, hey, Els, today I want to make that decision, then why don't you pray with me? Dear Jesus, we thank you so much. We thank you that you came to earth, you lived a sinless life, and you died on the cross so that we could have full access to the Father. And God, I pray that you would walk with me and that you would talk with me for all the days of my life. I invite you into my heart today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. That was the best decision that you could ever make. And so we want to celebrate with you. So why don't you jump in the chat, let someone know, let a leader know or a friend. And hey, you can actually download the YouVersion Bible app and start a devotional today. You can dive into the Word, get it in you. It's the best thing you could do as you start off your relationship with God. And so we will see you next time on the next Youth TV. It's going to be incredible and you don't want to miss out. We'll see you then.
Guys, what an incredible conversation that was. And like, honestly, it was very up close and deep. And remember, it's all about mental health.
Yeah, we want to say thank you to the team for a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks guys.
And hey, please check out the Youth Services Bureau. They provided us with some great resources. So if you guys need any help, we left that in the description for you below.
Yes,
so please check those out.
Awesome.
And last but not least, we have Youth Leadership Program. Please make sure to sign up. It's already started, but it's never too late.
It's never too late.
So make sure you guys check that out.
We will see you guys there.
But we will see you guys next time.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace out.
all the bloopers. Like that big old yawn.
Rolling, like Hayden. I always think of that. My stomach just went. "Rah." Can you tell us Hayden's most embarrassing story?
It's gonna be inappropriate.
No.
Alright, now we need to wait for the peanut gallery.
Peanut gallery?
Peanut gallery.
Jay, look like you're having the time of your life.
And just we're gonna start over.
Hello.
Yeah, Jay, what are you doing? You smile. Your dry lips. All right.
We're gonna be having it. Backtrack.
Embarrassing moments, like.
So this is so far a fail.
What'd you say?
Wherever you are, wherever you find yourself watching from, let's start over.
What's up, guys? Welcome to
Youth TV.
What the frig? It's
We're
Youth
both
News.
doing it. We're
No,
both
it's
doing it.
Youth News, not TV.
I'm so happy with that. Okay, hold on. Backtrack.
That's from Youth Rally right there.
We're gonna be interviewing a counselor. Okay, we're gonna start.
What's up, guys?
Welcome. Hello.
Carson, what else we got?
Okay, this on March 26th.
What's up, guys?
Wait, what are we saying?
With her Okay, hold on. I said that right. Okay. We got this.
And then I'll just like mingle and go over.
Okay. What's up, guys? Oh, Frank. All right. Okay, let me reset that. All right.
Takes me a couple times, guys. Okay. Is to give a okay, hold on, sorry.
TV.
Season 2, episode 2.
That's you.
Yeah, we love all of you guys.
Just so delicious, and that's just my main part when I go there.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Emily.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Youth News. Jay, you didn't even do it this time. Oh my gosh.
So you're able to cut stuff out, right? Like if I start laughing, okay, good.
At least making me feel uncomfortable. Better.